All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on some of history's most unbelievable stories. I mean, tales so strange you'd swear they were fiction, but here's the kicker. They are 100% real.
So, if you're one of those people who thinks history is just a dry, dusty textbook full of dates and boring battles, think again. The past is absolutely packed with moments that just defy all logic.
Because we're about to explore 3 of the most peculiar events ever recorded. And trust me, these aren't just quirky footnotes, they reveal a side of our past that is truly stranger than fiction.
Okay, let's crack open our first case file. We're heading way back to 1518, to the city of Strasbourg, for an event that sounds more like a dark fairy tale than actual history. It's a medical mystery that continues to baffle people to this day.
It all started so strangely. One woman, her name was Frau Trophea, just walked out into the street and started to dance. No music, nothing. She just danced. Within a week, a few dozen other people had joined her, all dancing uncontrollably. And by the end of the month, the whole thing had spiraled completely out of control.
And its absolute peak, we're talking about 400 people caught up in this dancing frenzy. Can you even imagine that? An entire crowd just dancing for days on end. They literally couldn't stop. People started collapsing, even dying from strokes, heart attacks, and just pure physical exhaustion. To this day, nobody really knows why. Was it mass hysteria? Some kind of poison from a fungus? We just don't have the answer.
All right, for our next case, we're jumping forward a few centuries to Boston in 1919. This one isn't a medical mystery, but it is a terrifying and totally bizarre man-made disaster. It's a story about how something you put on your pancakes became a weapon of mass destruction.
So picture this. It's an unseasonably warm January day in Boston's North End. Suddenly, people hear this deep, groaning rumble. It's followed by a sound like rapid machine gun fire, which was actually the rivets popping off a giant storage tank. And then, bam! A tank holding millions of gallons of molasses just exploded.
2.3 million gallons. I mean, that number is just staggering. To put that in perspective for you, that's enough sticky, gooey molasses to fill more than 3 Olympic-sized swimming pools. And it all came rushing out in one catastrophic moment.
And we're not talking about a little spill here. Witnesses said it was a literal wall of molasses, crashing through the streets, estimated to be up to 25 feet high. It was so powerful, it was ripping buildings right off their foundations.
And get this, it wasn't some slow creeping ooze. No, this thing was moving at a terrifying 35 miles per hour. People and horses in its path had absolutely no chance to get away.
As you can imagine, the aftermath was just devastating. 21 people were killed and another 150 were injured. The cleanup was an absolute nightmare that took months. But maybe the strangest detail of all? For decades after the disaster, residents swore that on hot summer days, you could still smell the sweet scent of molasses hanging in the air. A truly bizarre and tragic piece of history.
Okay, for our final case file, we're shifting gears from public tragedy to, well, to top secret absurdity. We're going to the 1960s, right in the thick of the Cold War, when the CIA decided its ultimate secret weapon was a house cat.
I'm not kidding. This was a real multi-million-dollar program called Operation Acoustic Kitty. The whole idea was to use a cat's natural talent for just wandering around unnoticed to eavesdrop on Soviet officials. You know, because cats can go anywhere.
I mean, the plan itself was just wild. They had a surgeon literally implant a tiny microphone in the cat's ear canal and a transmitter at the base of its skull. But as it turns out, the tech wasn't the hard part. The real problem was the agent itself. I mean, how exactly do you train a cat to follow orders? Yeah, they found out the hard way. You don't.
So after all that work, all that money, they took Acoustic Kitty out for its very first field test. The agents let the cat out of the van near their target, and the cat, being a cat, immediately got distracted, wandered out into the middle of the street, and was tragically hit by a taxi. The entire project was scrapped right then and there. An unbelievably bizarre footnote in the history of espionage.
So, a dancing plague, a killer flood of molasses, and a failed feline spy. What do they all have in common?
They remind us that history has this wonderfully weird texture to it. It's not just about the big, grand events. It's about unexplained human behavior, shocking accidents, and just pure government absurdity. The past isn't just a timeline. It's a collection of incredible and incredibly strange human stories.
And really, these are just 3 stories we pulled from the archives. It really makes you wonder, right? What other unbelievable, mind-boggling tales are just sitting there, waiting to be rediscovered? Thanks for joining me, and, as always, stay curious.